Have you ever felt?
Are you listening?
With veganism on the rise, Generation Vegan interviews the up-and-coming hottest vegans, and in this podcast, we teach you the practical side of having a plant-based diet. Today we're talking to Meghan Aro. She is an old soul located in a 25-year-old body, living out in Los Angeles. Her story is extremely relatable, and I know you will love her as much as I do. I hope you enjoy.
Okay, so I went vegan initially for health reasons. I started off when I was younger. I developed an eating disorder, and I was really restrictive with my calories. I was eating, 1,200 calories a day and exercising very intensely. I was a runner, so I burned a lot of calories. And honestly, I just got sick of it. I got sick of feeling like shit all the time. I was tired. I was low energy. And, you look into the fitness industry for nutrition information, and all you find is low carb, high protein, high fat. And I tried it, and I still felt like shit because it's not sustainable. It doesn't keep you full. It doesn't give you high energy. And so I turned to veganism. I started making all my own food. I learned how to cook. I learned how to really nourish my body, to not focus on how much I was eating, not counting carbs, not really even worrying about calories, just being more in tune with my body and feeding it real food. And that led me into researching where our food came from, and, things led to one another. And I became vegan because I learned where our food came from. I couldn't ethically support it any longer.
I was vegan, I would watch the videos, or I would see the videos on Facebook of like the animals being killed and everything, and I would turn away. And I think, like you were saying, once you actually watch it and you're like, holy crap, I mean, it's insane, the things that you see. And then you're like, I can't even support, even if I did like meat, which is so weird because I used to be a meat eater, and now I'm getting to the point where I am like, ugh, like I'm grossed out by it.
Yeah.
So I totally understand that. I think that's one of the things that we need to do is like get people to actually look at it. So how do you suggest to get people to watch the documentary? Like what documentaries do you send them? Like what do you suggest people start their journey with?
I always start with health, because that's the least confrontational way to talk to people. If you start off saying, things that could sound like blaming words, they're going to shut down. And I don't feel like it's a super effective way. There's no one right way to be an activist. I think everyone plays their own role. But personally, I've had the best experience talking to people about the health issues first and saying, we don't need meat. Like, meat's actually pretty bad for us. Here's the reasons why. Here's some, information on it. Here's some websites. Here's some recipes that you can look at. Here's some documentaries. I always recommend Forks Over Knives. Always, always, always. And once you can get them talking about that, then, and they can accept that, okay, maybe this is, better health-wise, then you can segue into, and, we just don't need to be killing animals. Like, do you know all of these things that are happening? And, like I said, I grew up in a small town, and these were family-owned farms. Okay, so they were really small. The animals did look quite happy. They were roaming in pastures, and it is extremely hard to convince people who grow up in an environment like that factory farming is a real thing. Like, when they picture farms, they picture that farm that they grew up next to, the lovely, farm owners that they were friends with. And they don't picture on a mass scale, how many mouths we have to feed on this planet. And if you've ever seen a factory farm, I mean, just photos of it on the internet, and, I've driven through West Texas. I've driven through California. I've passed factory farms, and it is heart-wrenching. It's terrible, but that's not what you picture when you picture a farm.
Yeah, I actually grew up in a very small town too, and so we had I don't know if y'all had like 4-H and like FFA.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the showing for the cows and stuff, and so it is really, really, really hard to explain to them that that is not where we get our meat from. Like,
No.
we don't get our meat raised by people that that care a lot about the cows and that are actually raising them to look beautiful and win this award and then get slaughtered and killed. Like, and maybe if that was the case, there wouldn't be so many vegans. Because I think people would be more ethically okay with that. I use that super loosely because, like,
Yeah.
when it comes down to, well, you can't humanely kill anything,
Right.
and I embarrassingly thought that you could. Like back in the day, I was like, oh, it's organic or it's like free range or like cage free, and so because you just kind of like go into that a little bit just to explain how those aren't even real things. You know, like I feel like it's just lying. There's just another lie that the government is telling us. So could you just explain to the viewers that aren't vegan that it's just not?
Well, cage free and free range and everything, like any other code that our government sets forth, it can have loopholes. It's a very loose term, and so chickens that are cage free, they're still kept in very, very close quarters in these like hen houses, and they're still very crammed, which leads to a lot of disease. They trample each other. There's sick, dead birds all on top of each other. And, all it means is they're not in a cage. They're just not held. They're all on top of each other. And so it's just a way for the meat industry to charge more money for people to ease their conscience. And people will pay it. People will pay the extra $1.50 or however much it is to feel good about their purchase. I mean, you go into Whole Foods, and I have no problem with Whole Foods. I shop there. I think they're doing a lot for the vegan movement, but you see their animal welfare scale, and it rates you on the products that they sell. Like, oh, good, I got a level 4 steak or whatever. This cow was very happy when it died, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to think of. I don't know how people can buy the meat and be like, okay, well, I don't have as much money today, so I'm just gonna get the cow that was very sad. I don't know. I don't know what their reasoning is.
I mean, I think the only thing I can think of is you're right, lowering my guilt, because I would buy cage free or like organic eggs, but I think it was Gary Yervowski who said he was comparing like humane slaughter to like humane rape, and like, okay, well, if I take this girl to dinner and like feed her a nice meal and like I'm super nice to her, and then I drug her and then I rape her, is that humane? Like, and that really clicked in my head. It's like, wow, there really is no way to like kill an animal.
That's a great comparison. I totally agree. And I love Gary Yourofsky. I think he is such a legend. He's done so much for this movement. I mean, my God, he's an international terrorist because he freed animals. Like, goals, right?
No, I know. I like can't even imagine sticking up like that. That's insane. He's like a freaking terrorist.
I know. He's not. I don't think he's allowed in the UK.
I don't think he is either. I think
that's crazy.
Because of the mink thing. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about like free, like literal chickens in your neighbor's yard that are like laying eggs and are actually happy? How do you feel about that? Because I know I had a neighbor and I was eating her eggs, and I actually interviewed this guy, and his girlfriend jumped on and she like sent me this video about how it was gross, and actually I was really glad that she did that, because now I don't eat them anymore. But what are your thoughts on it?
I've had a couple of people that I know that do have backyard chickens. One of my old clients, I lived in Texas. One of my clients, she had backyard chickens, and she treated them like her pets. Like they were her babies, and she did eat their eggs, and they weren't for meat. She never had intentions of sending them off to be slaughtered or anything like that. Like, she really loved her chickens, and that's not a fight that's not the point of this movement. You know, that's not a fight that I'm going to pick, because that is so tiny on the grand scale of things. Like, that's really the last thing that I'm going to come after. But you have to ask yourself, okay, where did those chickens come from? They came from the hatchery, where they are sorting out male and female chicks, and they're grinding up the male chicks that aren't, you know, valuable. They don't lay eggs. And so in a way, you are perpetuating that whole system by just buying the chickens from the hatchery, because I guarantee they're doing it because male chickens aren't profitable. It's not about what's best for the animals. It's about what makes the most money. But, you know, again, she already had the chickens. She treated them like pets. And that's the last point that I'm going to go to with someone like that. You know, the biggest thing is to get them to stop the demand for meat. At the grocery store every week, get meat off the shopping list. That's step one.
I think that that's going to be, I usually ask this question at the end of the interview, but I just want to ask you now, do you feel like the world's going to go at least majority vegan? Like, it will be like normal to be able to go out and have like a vegan menu or something?
Well, I'll tell you, when I lived in Texas, it didn't feel like we were anywhere close to that. In LA, I have a lot more hope. I really do, because, you know, you go into regular restaurants now and there is always a vegan option on the menu. And it's not like a side salad, which is huge. That's huge. We're making, you know, really big strides as, you know, a group. And I was just at the Veg Fest this past weekend in LA, and there were so many people there, seeing so many vegans come together for a cause, and just to, like, you know, get to know each other, have fun. It was incredibly inspiring, and it gives me such hope for this movement. And to be quite honest, I mean, I'm sure we've all seen Cowspiracy by now. We're either going to destroy the world or we're going to switch to a plant-based diet. You know, somewhere down the road, it's going to become a sustainability issue that we can no longer ignore.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Maybe not all people will be vegan. I think maybe some people will have, you know, their backyard animals and kill them or whatever. Or meat's going to be very, very, very expensive.
Right.
And so it'll only be like a special occasion kind of thing. But for the most part, I think we will be on plant-based diets.
That's so awesome. I totally do, because even in my own life, if I can go vegan, the world's gonna go vegan. You know what I mean? Like, this girl, all barbecue, steak, growing up, you know, chicken wings, and like, if I can do it, and then the girl I'm staying at her house right now, when I was going vegan, she's like, I'll never go vegan. Like, I could never give up meat, and she's been meat free for like 3 months now.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's starting to work on the dairy. My cousins went vegan. My ex-boyfriend went vegan. Like, I think it's definitely possible.
It's a ripple effect, man. Like, all we need to do is keep spreading the information, keep spreading the vegan love, and showing people that vegans can eat everything that they can eat.
Yeah, I actually went to the Veg Fest in Austin this year. I didn't know it was a traveling thing. I thought it was just, that's awesome. I would love to go to the LA one. I bet it was amazing. Did you see a lot of like jacked up people, or were there a lot of what I call skinny fat people, or like what was the like overall vibe of the people?
It was a mix. You know, people are vegan for all different reasons. Some of us go for it, you know, ethically at first. Some of us do it for health. So, you know, there were tons of fit vegans. There were tons of like very average vegans. I mean, you know, whatever. We're all there for the same cause. And Freely, the banana girl, was there. I got to meet her.
Hey.
It was so exciting. I love Freely. And just, you know, a bunch of other people that I know from social media, and it's great to, you know, get to meet them in person.
Oh, that's so awesome. Was Durandi in there?
Durian, yeah.
Durian.
Yeah, he was there with her.
Man, I want to meet her so bad. Like, I actually hated her at the beginning of my journey. I was like, she's a bitch. Like, she calls people out and like unnecessarily. which I still kind of agree with, but I also get why now. Like, I totally understand. And when people make fun of vegans for like telling people they're vegan in 10 minutes, or how do you know if they're vegan? Oh, they'll tell you, you know, stuff like that. It's like, because we're so passionate, like, we don't just stop eating meat and all this stuff just because it's like, oh, it's the cool thing to do. Like, it's very important. There are things out there that are happening that we aren't even aware of. And like, now that we have social media and technology and all that stuff, we're able to see it. But
I wish someone had come up to me and had been like, look, do you know what you're supporting? And I would have been like, oh my God, like, I have to stop. Like, let me stop today. As soon as, like, I was vegetarian first, like I told you, as soon as I found out about the dairy industry and that it directly contributes to the meat industry, I give it up. Cold turkey. Not to, yeah. I gave it up because there's no food. There's nothing that has that much control over me that I would, you know, compromise my morals.
Right.
To doing it. You know, that's when I hear people say like, oh, I could never go vegan. And, you know, I offer them information. I say, well, do you know what you're supporting? Let me tell you. And they're like, yeah, it just seems too hard. Like, they sound like drug addicts. To be honest. You know, I can't believe that something so simple as food could have such control over people that they would compromise their ethics, that they would contribute to such cruelty. That doesn't make sense to me.
So I know that you're actually a personal trainer, right? You like have clients and everything.
Yeah.
I am as well, and I was actually retaking, the first time I took my personal training test, I was not vegan, so like it didn't bother me. But this time, oh my gosh, I'm like sitting here reading the nutritional guide, and I'm like, how can you say that? Like, I was getting so mad, and I said, you know what, fuck this. I was like, I'm just gonna go take this test and use common sense as like a ridiculous person, and I passed the test. Like, but I can't even believe that they can even say, there's a girl posted on Instagram, she's a personal trainer as well, and it's like cancer fighting foods. And it had low fat chicken, it had low fat steak, it had low fat milk. And I took a picture and sent it to my cousin. I was like, how can we say this? Like, insane. And she was like, you need to go on there and say that she has misinformation because she has like 15,000 followers. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be that person, just because if she's posting that, she's not in the realm of like openness. I feel like you already, if you posted that picture, you already feel like you know exactly what fights cancer, even though it's like, obviously it doesn't. I didn't. Anyway, so how do you feel about the industry, like your clients? Like, how do you get them to understand that actually eating more carbs will make them leaner? You know, and like, if they stop eating animal proteins, they could add all this stuff that they're having to take away because of their like low calorie restricted diet, right?
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to have people unlearn what the fitness industry has taught us for so many years. And not all my clients are vegan. Unfortunately, I do have some vegan clients and I love them so much. But, you know, not everyone that I work with is vegan, and they're not all open to going vegan. And in that case, we just really focus on fitness. And, you know, I can only offer so much information. It's really up to them to put it to use. But I do inform all of my clients about, you know, the lies that are told in the fitness industry. And a lot of them are inclined to believe me just because they've been through it. You know, they've tried all of these like crash diets that don't work. And yes, I would consider paleo low carb a crash diet because you don't stay on it long term. You are low energy. Low carb means low energy, especially if you're working out. If you're trying to, you know, incorporate any kind of fitness plan, you need carbohydrates to fuel yourself. And any plan that, you know, reduces healthy carbs reduces your fruit intake. If you have a trainer that tells you need to cut back on your fruit, you better find a new trainer, because they just don't know what they're talking about.
That's so insane, and I'm so embarrassed to even admit this, but when I was bodybuilding, so my story really quickly was like I was a personal trainer, and then I did a bodybuilding show, and after I did that, 3 months later I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and couldn't walk for 4 months, and like completely had to go vegan. I was like on this really intense medicine. New background.
It's cool.
So yeah, because I went vegan. Because I feel like one of the reasons I actually got rheumatoid arthritis is because I carb depleted so bad. Like I was not eating any carbs, and because I would tell my clients, and my trainer would tell me, don't eat any fruit. So literally I would tell my clients, you want to keep your sugars low, you want to don't eat any fruit, you'll get fat. Like I said that, you know what I mean? So that's really what this podcast is about, to show people that I was a regular person before this, and you were a regular, you didn't know about the dairy, and then when you did, you changed. And so that's what I'm trying to show everyone, is we are not like these perfect gods that just praise animals, we're real.
No, yeah. I mean, I think that's the case with most because it's such a new, I don't want to say it's a new movement, but it's gained so much ground, in just the past couple of years. Since I became vegan, we've done so much. We've come so far in the movement. And so most of us did grow up eating meat. 3 years since I had meat. That's not that long. Most of my life, I grew up eating meat and dairy. And so, change is definitely possible. You just have to want to open your eyes to what's going on and be open-minded to new information.
So if someone is open to it, but they just really don't either know how to cook or want to learn how to cook, what recipe would you suggest is the easiest, quickest, fastest way to get started with a plant-based diet?
Well, when I first started, I very much needed a recipe in front of me. And so my go-to website was oshiglows.com. I loved her recipes. And most of them weren't that complex, but I did dedicate time every Sunday to preparing my meals. And I would choose, 2 or 3 recipes. And, my husband and I went vegan together. So we learned how to cook vegan on Sundays, and we would do it every week, and we'd have our meals prepared for us. So we didn't even have to think about it during the week. Now I've gotten to the point where, truthfully, I hate cooking, and I live in Los Angeles. So if I want something, cooked meal, fancy, I'm just going to go out to a restaurant, because there's tons of vegan restaurants here. But that wasn't always the case. So, now I'm at the point where I don't cook much. The extent of my cooking is throwing a sweet potato and some vegetables in the oven, letting them roast for 20 minutes or so, and it being done. I make a lot of smoothies. I eat a lot of fruit just raw, because it's so easy. It's so fast. I don't invest time into cooking any longer. I did when I started, and I see the merit in it, but I just don't like to spend time in the kitchen.
Actually, I love cooking, but if once I'm actually moving out to LA July 15th.
Oh, yay!
Yes, I want to have a big Generation Vegan meetup, because there's 6 of you guys out there, and I just want to hang out and be vegan.
Yeah, let's do it.
But LA is a vegan heaven. It's amazing.
I'm sorry, you cut out. I can't hear you.
I said LA is a vegan heaven. It's amazing. There's
oh my God, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. So many vegan, I haven't even been to them all yet. There's so many vegan options.
So if, by the way, if you're listening to this episode, I'm going to link Oshi Glows. Is that the right website?
Oshiglows.com.
Okay. And I'm also going to be doing Cowspiracy and Forks Over Knives. How long have you and your husband been married?
How long have you been married? 2 years? 3 years? 2? 2? How bad is that? We've
Yeah.
been together 5 years.
Okay.
We've been married 2 years.
That's awesome. So before, well, this kind of doesn't pertain to you, but how do you feel people should meet like other vegans to date if they prefer vegans? Like, where should they go? What should they do?
That's so hard.
I know. Every vegan I've talked to has been single, so.
You know, I was very lucky that I was with a man who was so open-minded and intelligent, and so we both really took this journey on together. You know, we went vegan together. We watched all the documentaries. We, you know, found all the information. We got on Instagram together, like, and it was so much easier having someone else to do that with and to be able to talk about, like, can you believe this shit? Like, because when you find it's so overwhelming when you find all of this stuff out, and you know, I can't imagine going it alone. But I was very, very lucky that he was right where I was every step of the way, you know. And there was never a time that, you know, one of us was still eating meat, or like, you know, we weren't sure if we wanted to make the change. We were all in. We're like, okay, let's do this, you know. But for the single vegans, Instagram, you know, it's hard. You know, if I was single, dating someone that eats meat, but they would have to be open-minded.
Yeah.
They would have to be open to learning new information. And, you know, if it came down to the fact that they were just like, you know what, I just don't care. Like, I'm just going to do it anyway. I probably wouldn't be able to be with that person.
Yeah, that's pretty much like a deal breaker for me. Not that you're not vegan, but just the fact that you just don't care. It's like,
if they know all the information, if they've been handed everything and they still choose to support it, I wouldn't be okay with it.
So how do you feel about soy, and just like, what are your favorite protein drinks that you supplement with, and how do you choose a good like protein mix?
So first, I want to start by saying that protein powders are definitely not necessary. You don't have to supplement with protein powder. I know many vegans who absolutely don't use any protein powder. So you can definitely get enough protein through, you know, just eating regular food. I do use protein powder, and that's just because I like big, thick, chocolatey shakes. And, you know, I have no shame about it. But I just recently switched over to Badass's protein, the Vegan Smart, and really, really, really good. It's fantastic. So I highly recommend it. And I know they're carrying it now at Whole Foods.
And that is like, he created that?
I think so. When I first started following him, I know he was making cookies, and then he launched this vegan protein brand, and I think he's with a team, but he's kind of the face of the company. I know he reps it, and he's a fantastic guy if you ever get the chance to meet him. So I definitely support his product, and it tastes great. No issues with soy. I eat soy every day. I drink soy milk in my coffee. I have tofu. I have tempeh. Anyone that says that soy is bad for you, they haven't read the studies that are in that silly little article that they've posted. Because what the issue people find with soy, people that eat meat that have a problem with soy. I know some vegans that are soy-free, and it is a common allergen, so totally get it, whatever. But usually it's the meat eaters who will say, oh, well, soy's bad for you. It's going to give you like man boobs or something. And like, you know, it's ridiculous, the things that they say. And it's because there is phytoestrogen in soy. It is not actual estrogen. You know, it has actual estrogen is in, you know, the dairy products that they may be eating, hormones in the meat that they're eating. You know, that's much more likely to mess up your hormones in your body than phytoestrogen. the studies are inconclusive on soy. All we know is that, Asian populations have been eating soy for centuries, and they're among the healthiest people in the world. Soy is fantastic. And it's a great substitute when you're trying to transition into a vegan diet, tofu, tempeh, make it however you want. And that's a great replacement for meat. You don't even have to think about it. And it can be cooked in the same ways that meat's cooked. You flavor it, you marinate it, cook it however you want, just like meat.
Okay, so what's your favorite tofu recipe? Because I need one. I suck at tofu.
I'm super basic. I throw it in the oven and just roast it. Like I don't really do anything with it, but I have had it where it's, prepared, by chefs that know what they're doing. I'm not a cook. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really cook. Like, to be truthful, like most of the time I'll just take like raw tempeh out of the package and like just crumble it on top of my salad or food or whatever. Like I don't even cook it and I don't care.
I love it.
So I'm not a good example, but I do eat it and I'm perfectly healthy.
So what would you tell the newly vegans? Because for me, I did not get that vegan rush of energy that everyone talks about. It's like, oh, I've got this vegan power. It's like, I didn't get that. So what do you suggest for me and like other people that just don't have that energy? What should we eat? How should we like switch up our diet?
Fruit, tons of fruit.
Fruit, yeah.
Lots of raw foods. And I don't mean raw foods in like the very oily, fatty way. I mean like high carb, raw vegan food, lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, anything that's very fatty is going to make you feel weighed down. So a lot of my food that I make, I don't use oils on any of my foods. I don't cook with oil. I don't think it's necessary. Any fats that I get, I'm getting from like avocados or nuts. And, I'll occasionally cheat and go out to dinner, like have pizza or something. But most of the time I'm eating a lot of raw foods and, then at dinner I'll have like some cooked vegetables and like a potato or something like that. But I think really cleaning up your diet and eliminating processed foods and really getting a lot of like fruit and a lot of hydration into the body is the best thing you can do for your energy levels.
I would love to go back to the oil thing you said, because I think I was compensating for a long time. I don't know why. It has nothing to do with meat or cheese. I just was like, I guess because I'm not eating meat and cheese, I'm going to cook everything in oil. I don't know. I just was like, so what do you saute your vegetables in? Like you just bake them, or?
I bake a lot of my vegetables. Or if I am cooking in a frying pan, like sometimes I'll make vegetable stir fries, and you can just use water, really. Just a little bit of water in the bottom so it doesn't burn. Yeah, I don't cook with oil. I don't see that it's necessary because it's a lot of calories, and you just don't feel them. They're not going to make you full. So why the added extra fat?
Right. So do you plan on, well, I don't know if y'all talked about having kids, but raising your kids vegan, and how do you plan on like going about that if they get teased at school or are just having a hard time with it?
I don't think I'm going to have kids. I'm not naive. I'm only 25. I'm not naive enough to say that I absolutely never, ever, ever want a child. But if there comes a day where I do want to raise a child, it will definitely be vegan. Absolutely. And I'll probably adopt, to be quite honest. I don't particularly feel the need to bring a life into the world. I don't know.
It has something to do with like veganism, because I've known like a lot of vegans that I've interviewed and on YouTube, they're like, I recently wanted to have 6 kids, all natural, blah, blah, blah. And now I don't think I want to have any kids like out of my body. If anything, I'll adopt, like, because that just makes sense. You think that's a vegan mindset? Because you kind of see so much, you're just like, why have a kid? There's so many kids out there.
Yeah, I think I mean, yeah, I do think it's kind of a vegan thing just because we have been exposed to so much in this world. It's kind of the same mindset we have about pets, you know, adopt, don't shop. Like, there are already so many kids in the world that need homes, that need families. And so why would I go out of my way to produce another life when I could easily, you know, give a life to some child that's in need? And, you know, I don't know if I want to be a parent. I don't know if I'm cut out to be a parent, but if it comes to that, I'm going to adopt.
So I like to give the people watching or the people that will view this, I want to just make you a little bit vulnerable. So could you just talk about the last time you messed up, either whether it was on purpose or on accident, and just how did you recover, and what were your thought processes on that?
The last time I messed up with veganism?
Yeah, I feel like, well, because you've been vegetarian for so long, maybe not meat, but dairy. Like maybe you ate something you knew dairy was in it, but you ate it anyways. Or maybe you haven't messed up, I don't know.
I mean, I was vegetarian first. I didn't realize the cruelty that was involved with the dairy industry. And when I did realize that, I cut it out. There was never a question in my mind of, you know, do I want to support this? Is there a way around this? You know, one thing I will say that was difficult for me, you know, when I first went vegetarian, I cut out meat, and I was slowly, it was for health first. And so yet I was starting to, a little bit. I was starting to feel weird around meat if it was served at the table, if I was with my family or friends or whatever. And there was definitely a little bit of guilt there. One thing I struggled with were leather products. And I'll be honest, I still have leather in my closet just because, you know, of how much leather stuff I had before I went vegan. Lots of shoes, handbags, you know, I have a leather coat. I haven't bought anything leather since I made that connection and chose a more ethical lifestyle. But, you know, in that transition, I still went to the store and just like, it totally went over my head. I went to the store and I'd buy boots and not even look and see, you know, what they were made of. Like, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And that was something that came later. And, you know, now I look back and it seems so obvious, like, okay, duh, like, where do you think leather comes from? But it's so hard to like take everything on when you're going through that transition. You know, there's so much thrown at you, and then, you know, you're worrying about your food, then you have to start worrying about, you know, what you're wearing, where is it coming from? Then you have to start worrying about the household cleaners that you're purchasing, you know, what kind of laundry detergent or makeup, was it tested on animals? And like, it just takes baby steps. I think food is the first really big one, and then we can get into all the other little things.
Right. I feel like, and then you could even go farther. You could do water. You're like, crap, now I have to get like a awesome filter, and you to like alkalize it, and then you could go to air, and then you're like, you know, it's just, we're just so bombarded with so much shit. And then when you figure it all out, when you start watching these documentaries, it's like, and you get really overwhelmed. So I definitely, and the leather thing, like, I recently bought some stuff offline, and I bought some leather shoes, and I didn't even think to be like, oh, those are leather, right? So I haven't gotten them in the mail yet, but when I do, I'm gonna return them, because my friend bought me this purse that looks like cowhide, but it looks like giraffe, like, but it's cowhide. It's really weird. And she bought it for me, and so I was like, oh, I'm vegan, but it was really cute, and I just, like, I didn't want to give it back and be rude, so I just wore it for a few days, and I swear to you, the first day I wore it, it was, like, stabbing me in the leg, like, the hairs were going through my shorts and stuff, and I'm like, this is vegan karma, like, so in the giving my purse away, I'm like, I could not have this purse.
Yeah, I do still have leather in my closet, but I do kind of feel a certain way sometimes about wearing it. And, you know, what's done is done. I don't judge any vegans who still have animal skin products that they have in their closet, because, you know, we're all new at this. We weren't raised to be conscious of our purchases, and it's just, you know, you got to take it step by step, and all you can do now is be conscious to not contribute to any more suffering. I'm definitely not one of those people who's the vegan police. I don't care what type of vegan you are. I don't care if you're a vegan that eats, you know, cheeseburgers and pizza every single day. I don't care. The only thing I care about is reducing the suffering of animals in the world. That's all I care about.
I am right there with you. I'm like, I don't care. Like, on my Snapchat, I'm very open about what I eat. So if I mess up, or if I purposely mess, I'll be like, look. And some people will call me out, you're not a vegan. Like, right when I first transitioned, I would say maybe like 6 months ago.
Oh wow, you're new.
Yeah.
You're new vegan.
Yeah, I've only been dairy free for a year, and then I've been vegan for almost like 6 months now, or 7 months.
Wow. Yeah. Good for you.
Thank you. It was hard, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if I didn't get sick, I wouldn't have ever. I don't think I would have gone vegan as fast, because I do think I would have gone vegan just because of the person I am. Like, it totally aligns with my core values, makes absolute sense. And once I stopped eating the meat, it allowed it to kick in more. But I don't think if I didn't have to stop eating dairy, I would be like, oh, there's no way I could do it, you know. And I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that I got sick, because it made me a vegan, and now I totally just feel more connected with everything, and just so much happier.
Oh, it changes your life. Absolutely. It's the best thing. It's the best decision that I ever could have made. And, you know, I may be more isolated now because of it. I definitely lost friends along the way. My family totally doesn't get me at all. But I am at peace within myself.
Yeah.
My morals and my actions align with each other. And that's the only way you can live.
So I'm going to throw a few questions at you that I feel like you can kind of bunch together in the same answer. But how do you deal with like family drama, like dealing with non-vegan family and family events? And how do you deal with haters? You know, just people commenting like negative things. And what is the most annoying like non-vegan comment? Mine's plants have feelings. I don't even know. Do not come at me with plants have feelings.
Oh God. Okay. So my family, no one in my family is vegan, and you know what? You're still a new vegan, so you're very hopeful. You're very like bright and shiny and new. I'm a little bit jaded, a little bit. So when I first went vegan, you know, a couple months in, I was preparing myself to have a conversation with my parents. I was like, okay, you know, my parents are good people. They're intelligent people. You know, I have all this new information. I have documentaries. I have articles I can show them. I have books I can show them. I have all these recipes. And you know what? Next, when I go home, because I don't live in the same state as my parents, they're from Pennsylvania. When I go home for Christmas and see them, like I'm going to have a really serious talk with them, and I'm going to show them everything, and I'm going to teach them how to be vegan, because this is so, so, so important, and they have to know. They have to know. And the conversation ended with my mom storming out of the house, yelling, and, you know, our relationship really hasn't been the same since then.
That's insane. I mean, I see that happening, but yeah.
And I never approached her with any kind of blaming words. I was very careful about how I got into it, but we did not get far into it, let me tell you. It was so confrontational for her to deal with, because she is a good person. She loves animals. Oh my God, she loves animals. Every time there's an animal around, she's all over the animal. She loves seeing pictures of cute baby animals, you know. She loves her dog to death. And hearing this was extremely confrontational, because she would have had to change. And there was, I don't speak about it with my parents anymore, because the people closest to you are the people who are least likely to change. They're not going to listen to you, because now you have changed. You have transformed who you are. You've reached a new, higher level of consciousness, and they're intimidated by that. Quite frankly, I think it's intimidating, and I don't think they know how to deal with it. And I think they, you know, they're offended, and they feel like, you know, maybe you look down on them now because, oh, like they're vegan, like they look down on me because I eat meat, and, you know, so it's the people closest to you who I would really just, unless they ask you for help, like I wouldn't even bother, to be quite honest. My friends, I mean, from high school, they are definitely not vegan. They're definitely not interested in going vegan. No one in my family. It's honestly just been like strangers who are like, you know, asking for help. And I've been lucky enough to help a lot of people, but none of them have been close to me. What was your other question?
Well, and we'll get to that. My other thing though was haters and like how you deal with that. And
Haters can't faze me. They really can't faze me. I'm actually very, I love when I can get through to people. I love being able to change people and being able to, you know, relate with them on vegan issues and get them to understand why this is so important and why they should make moves to a vegan lifestyle. My second favorite thing is pissing people off, because it means that they care. If they didn't care, they would not be so mad. And so when someone lashes out like that, I'm just like, that's your conscience, man. That's your conscience. That, like, you are so mad at yourself. And you don't have to do anything other than provide facts. I have had a lot of haters on my page, on my social media page. Lots of people saying, you know, maybe I'm not providing correct information, or that, you know, I'm not healthy, I'm not fit, I don't look good because I'm a vegan, you know, I'm not strong, like whatever they're gonna throw at me. And I'm just like, all right, well, here's the information. Whatever you choose to do with it is up to you. And it's amazing how angry people will get with just information, because you don't have to call them names. You don't have to use any blaming words. You don't have to say you're the worst because you eat meat. All you have to do is provide information.
That really freaks people out. I mean, like, there was a Walmart put out a slaughter truck toy, like for kids to play with, a slaughter truck toy.
I saw that.
And yeah, so this girl that was an FFA, she posted it on her Facebook and was like, fucking vegans, like they think just because they don't want to kill our pets that, you know, we can't eat meat or like make, basically it was like so stupid. I'm like, it's just so hard to like, and then anyways, I got underneath her post and I put a little comment just about, you know, just some information. I wasn't like blaming or like you said, using like words that would say you suck or like you're worse or less than me or whatever. The attacks that I got from that girl's Facebook, like underneath, it was like, actually, you don't know what you're talking about. And here are articles on why meat's awesome. And here are other articles on how the dairy industry is like going under because people won't stop supporting their local farm. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't want to. Sorry, they're going out of business because they're freaking like.
I hope they crash and burn.
I don't know.
Like, them. Seriously, do we feel bad about putting like cigarette companies out of business? Like, they give people cancer. So does meat and dairy.
Right.
I don't really care about lost jobs. I care about the good of our population.
Right, and people focus so much on the lost jobs part, and it's like, yeah, but if we made vegan cheese, that would create jobs. I mean, it would create the exact same jobs that we're quote unquote taking away, which if you really want to even get into like human rights and all that stuff, when you think about the animals, you're also got to think about the people that are killing the animals. I mean, what is that doing to their psyche? Could you imagine slitting cows' throats all day, every day for like...
It's really sad because a lot of people who do those jobs are immigrants. They're legal immigrants, and it's kind of their only option. The government's willing to turn a blind eye to it as long as they do this job, because who else is going to do the job? If you have a better option, like, you're definitely going to take it. That's a shitty job. It's a dangerous job. A lot of people get injured on the job. And so it's really unfortunate that we have these illegal immigrants, and the only way they can stay here is if they're working in the slaughterhouses. And, it's a very shitty industry. It's really terrible. It's terrible for the animals. It's terrible for the workers. It's terrible for our environment. And, if anyone saying defending the industry because of lost jobs they just totally have their priorities mixed up.
Yeah, absolutely. So if y'all haven't been to her Instagram page, which I tagged on my Instagram, you have to go check it out because your descriptions are so awesome to read. Like, I'm lazy as all get out. I will not read anything. But I like start reading your stuff, and then the next thing I know, I'm like 52 weeks in, and I'm like reading all of like, wow. So do you have any other places that you like post stuff that you write, or is that the only place you get that out?
I am not big on social media. Instagram was the first thing that I got onto, and I don't tweet, I don't snap, I don't really do anything. I'm on Facebook, but not really. I am thinking about starting a YouTube channel though, and not talking really about, promoting veganism always, but really focusing more on home workouts. So that might be something that I get into in the next couple of weeks, so I'll let you guys know.
That would be really awesome, and I could actually show you, I'm sure you can figure it out, but download this video and put it on your YouTube. That way you can be sending your fans.
Okay.
How did you get to 9,000 followers so quickly without being so engaged?
I don't know, really. It's kind of crazy. 9,000 isn't that big. The grand
That's amazing. That's awesome, like, especially for a vegan. Like, that's amazing.
It's cool. I didn't get on Instagram with the mindset of, I'm gonna be this like big, Instagram vegan person. I've been honest and inspiring and not overly indulgent on the vegan side. My page is really to get people inspired to make a change in their life. I don't care to blame anyone. We all have to start somewhere. I just want people to be open to change. So that's really how I gear my page. And it seems crazy to me that like 9,000 people care what I have to say. Like, that's really wild. But I'm very grateful, and I hope to keep spreading, a positive message to everyone out there.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And can you believe it's already been an hour?
Oh no, I've been talking to you for an hour? I like talking to you.
I know, like, we could just talk for another hour, but I wanted to ask you just a few more questions before we end. What are some goals that you have for yourself in 2016? Like 2 good goals. They don't have to be about veganism, but they can if you want them to be.
So, goals. To be able to do an unassisted pull-up, strict, no swinging. I've been working on them. And I do want to get on YouTube with a workout channel, and I am looking to release a nutrition guide. I've been working on one, writing one, just because I've had so many people reach out to me for diet help, and it's hard to answer all the emails. Like last summer, I offered donation-based meal plans, and that was really stupid of me. Really stupid of me. I was like, oh, this will be great because I want to help people, and it's hard to do it for free because I have to invest so much time into it. So I was like, I'll just do a donation-based, like pay what you want, pay what you can, because I just want to help people. And the amount of emails I got was extremely overwhelming, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like I can't. And so, I get emails and, I charge for diet assessment, meal plan, whatever. But I'm hoping to be able to just have a download that people can go to, and it's going to talk about, making a transition to a plant-based diet, but really, thinking about your diet as a more sustainable lifestyle and not obsessing over calories or carbs. I eat what I want. I don't track my food. I don't count how many sugars I've had in a day. I don't count my carbs. This is not a plan that's going to be, let's get you ready for a stage competition, physique competition. That's not what I focus on. I focus on real holistic health that you can apply to your everyday life for years and years and years to come.
And it's like so crazy when I try to explain to people, if I could give you a diet where you didn't have to think about calories, you didn't have to think about sugars, what you eat whatever you want, all you have to do is eat no animal products, like, wouldn't you want to do that? That sounds amazing. And you lose weight. Like,
it's great.
But no one believes, like Shreds, like the Shreds team, they're like, oh, it's like fake. So where can everyone reach you at? And if they wanted to email you or like get your meal-based plans or your...
So my email is on my website and in my Instagram bio. It's meg@meghanaro.fitness. But, you visit my page, visit my website. You can contact me there. And yeah, I try to get to emails as quickly and efficiently as I can.
Okay, so I'll be linking her website and her Instagram on here for all of those that will be listening to this. And anything else that you have to say about veganism? Like, what do you think is the most important thing people need to know about this lifestyle?
Thing they need to know is that this isn't like transitioning to being gluten-free or low carb or whatever. Animals are dying every second of every day, and they don't have time for you to decide if you really want to be vegan or not. This is a very serious issue. It's causing climate change. It is directly contributing to world hunger. It's depleting resources in poorer countries. And it's not about you, to be honest. You can really benefit from the health aspect of it, and it's a really rewarding lifestyle, and I'm very happy on it, but it's not about you. It's about the general good and, just causing less harm.
It totally makes sense once you start doing it and you feel your core values, like, because it's insane. Like, as a good person, I don't know why I'm using this. I really was a good person. But I couldn't kill a bee. If it was just fun, I couldn't kill a bee. I couldn't kill a mosquito unless it bit me. Then it's like game on. But I wouldn't even kill anything, but I could still eat chicken and meat. And I'm just like, how is that possible? So that's really what I want to help people break, is just like that disconnect. Because like you said, it's not about you. It's not about us. What good is your body, your six-pack, your meat, rock hard body going to do if we have no environment to live in? Like, where are we going to live?
Exactly. I totally agree.
So this has been so great. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This is fantastic.
So thank you everyone for watching, and of course you will see us again next Tuesday. Don't forget, go vegan. You can find me at Dark Sunshine, DARKSUNSH 9. That's it for this week. Wasn't she amazing? I know you loved her, and thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions about becoming vegan or you're wanting to be on the podcast, please contact me at any social media. Dark Sunshine, DARKSUNSH 9. I can't wait to meet you.